All right, welcome to another episode of Off Call.
Welcome to another offer.
I'm still animated. It's a totally different day. I'm wearing a different shirt.
You can tell because my shirt is different.
Yeah.
I like the gold chain out. You're giving rock vibes.
Now the gold chain is out. We have Dr. Marian again. She's a returning guest.
By popular
On a
demand
different
of
day
our
again.
one
It's a
viewer.
completely different day.
So the one
got you,
person that's
Mom.
watching.
Thank you for watching, Mom.
Thanks, Mom, for requesting me.
The one person that's watching. What's wrong with you?
Joe's aunt and my mom. Joe's grandma.
All right, everyone. This is not medical advice. Don't take anything we're saying seriously.
Oh, seriously, you could take it.
Well, that's on your discretion.
It's
But
on-
don't make any life decisions
Just
based on
don't
what we
sue
say.
us, basically. Is what we're saying.
Please don't sue us.
The lawyer said to say
Always never sue us.
Yeah, good rule of thumb. Don't sue us. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, all the social media. Like and subscribe. We still need a producer. Maybe a nice young gentleman would come calling at some point.
Why does it have to be a
that.
gentleman?
Why does it have to be a dude?
You
Maybe
said that twice.
You know,
I should've
women
said
can
it
be
the first
producers
time.
too.
I don't know.
Don't you want a hot little chick running around here?
My
No,
wife won't allow that.
only matronly.
Yeah. The younger the better.
Women.
Gentlemen are really
No,
old.
the older, the better. Yeah.
Okay, we could have an old man producer. Any old men out there? Do a good job.
It's getting weird.
Okay, now we're gonna remember to do the intro.
It's my favorite song.
It was $10.99.
The best part about this is it's natural. It came in.
Yeah.
It fits.
You are Mr. Segway. Smooth.
Off call.
How long is the song?
It's pretty long. We can figure it out now.
Hour and a half.
All right. All right. So today is a horror story episode, or any story you got from residency, being a new attending, to current medicine. Anything you got. So, Dr. Marianne,
Are you going to start with me again? Oh my God.
you're the guest.
Oh.
Start with name, age.
Oh, wait, we have to plug MedPop. Everyone.
MedPop Apparel, MEDPOPAPPAREL. MedPop Apparel, that is my apparel line for healthcare workers, nurses, RNs, LVNs, techs, whatever. Whoever works in medicine will appreciate this line of t-shirts, sweatshirts, decals. I'm wearing one of my designs right now. This is the female physician design. And you can find it on Etsy or medpopapparel.com.
They are pretty
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I'm proud of them. Yeah.
And then, yeah, they're a sponsor, but once you start buying them, she's going to start paying us. So please buy them.
We did not discuss that, but okay.
Well,
It's
nothing's
contract.
free. Okay, so we all have stories from residency. I mean, there were close calls, things fly under the radar. Actually, triumph stories, things that worked out.
Yep.
Yeah, because we've never made mistakes. So
I mean, I
it's
can.
only triumph stories. Only triumph stories.
I mean, that's the thing of medicine. It's you can make mistakes, but as long as you're upfront and honest with the patient, everyone around you, it's okay because we're all human.
That's true.
Well, in residency, is there anything that stands out? What about your worst call ever?
Okay, the worst call ever it happened. I'm not going to talk about that. It's too long. It's too long. But I had a lot of terrible calls that we got through. I'm not going to tell you about the worst call ever. We're going to say that's going to be its whole new episode because it's so long and so complicated and so terrible. But I've had a lot of crazy calls. I'm going to give you the second worst call ever.
Okay. The episode is second worst call ever.
Second worst call ever. Okay. So I was at Children's Hospital in Brooklyn, New York. I was a second year senior technically, but I was like a new second year. And the way our call happened was like you had your calls in the like where you were rotating, but then you had floating calls where you were just like thrown
Yep.
to like fill a gap in the call schedule
Yes,
because there was no one else.
Yep.
So this is one of those calls.
And
So
you're just out of intern year with a bunch of interns. Don't get sick in
literally-
July. Never get sick in July.
literally
That's what they say. But I
don't get sick in July because you're going to
But-
get a brand new med student turned intern and they don't know anything.
But how many people are going to be doing procedures in July as an intern? Or
Depends on the program.
facility.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Depends on the
you're-
program.
Yeah.
they wouldn't let me touch a patient.
They didn't
in
let
July.
you touch a
Yeah,
patient.
you had
They
to-
let
No, they
No,
didn't.
I don't know, but it's. I mean, you're gonna get shaky voices and.
They're going to take a really thorough history
Yeah.
that may mean nothing to the attending.
And how many turtles are in your house?
Birds?
Yeah. Any birds, hamsters? And they're gonna be like, "Why is this relevant to my cellulitis?" Okay. Anyway, so I was a new second year senior, and I was on the call schedule. I think I was doing an elective. So people on electives just fill gaps in the call schedule. Okay. In our program, there was a pediatric ICU, the PICU rotation, but there's no interns in the PICU ever, right? So I had a call, an overnight call in the PICU as a floater, meaning I had never done PICU. I've never been in the PICU. I didn't even know where the PICU was. I've never like walked through the doors of the PICU, and
Couldn't
they're like,
smell it.
I had no idea. And they're like, you're on call in the PICU tonight. There's a floater just to fill in because there's
got
no one
this.
else to do it. As a second year, new second year. And so obviously I was nervous. The PICU rotation is completely different than any other rotation. We have a critical care. What are you?
Doctor.
But you're ICU, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Totally different than the rest of the hospital, right? They round different, they sign out different,
Correct.
the protocol is different. So I just went in at 5 p.m. when my call started, and I was like, I'm here as the floater, and I'm just gonna like help out. And I didn't know
sort
anything.
of in charge.
No, because I had a third year, thank God.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
So I walk in at 5 p.m. I'm like, I'm Marian. I'm a second year. I'm just here for the floating call. And they're like, okay, cool. The third year, I can't remember her name. I wouldn't say her name anyway. Let's just call her Jane. Was also a floater. So she's like, I'm not even in the PICU rotation. I don't know any of these patients. I'm also a floater.
Great.
The attending was a floater
from home.
from home. And he's like, Dr. So-and-so.
Why do you keep calling me?
Had a date tonight, so I'm just covering him. I haven't been here for 2 weeks. So me, senior, attending all floaters this night.
Here we go.
We didn't know any of these patients.
Baptism by fire.
A baptism by fire. I didn't know anything. I did not know anything, right? So Jane, my senior, was like, I got you. I've done this before. I don't know the patients, but whatever. I'll teach you the ropes. And da-da-da. She was so nice. Thank God. She was like the blessing of the night. I'm not going to say his name, but all my horror stories are
Say
with
it.
this.
We're calling you out. We're coming for
Who
you.
is, by the way, the best attending, excellent PICU attending. It was just like a comedy of errors this night. Do not judge us. If my child was sick in the PICU, I would trust my child. Okay, so this is nothing on him. He's also a floater. So he's like, and this guy is very intimidating. Okay, he's like 6'5", like big guy. He's like, hey, I'm like, oh my God. I've never talked to him in my life. But awesome attending. So he's like, so we're all floaters, huh? I'm like, looks like it. So we kind of like do our rounds, and in our program, the attendings are not in-house. They go home, right? So we're just like, and we call them when we need them.
Right.
And we kind of round, we go over the patients, and then he goes home. And we're fine. And Jane, my senior, is kind of like teaching me, like, this is how you sign out, and these are the vitals you need, and this is how, and it's totally different. It's totally foreign to me. Like, you need the I's and O's, and you need the this, and you need the that, and the medications are different. And I'm like, okay. Because The second year senior has to sign out in the morning. So I have to know this stuff because I'm going to lead rounds, right? Okay. So the night's going fine until, we lost our sign.
Sorry, I'll fix it.
So the night's going fine until like middle of the night. We get this PICU admission. Okay. And of course, you're supposed to call the attending with every admission. We get this admission. It's like a teenage boy. He's like MRCP, like totally contracted, like chronic, cerebral palsy, trach, a G-tube, the whole thing.
Oh.
And he's admitted for like a pneumonia or something like that, as far as my memory serves me. And he was fine, but he had like a pneumonia and he needed an oxygen or something, so he needed a PICU admission. Okay, fine. So he comes up. And as we're transferring him from the transport bed to the PICU bed, he starts like immediately desatting and just like
Rating down.
Yes. Braiding, apneic, turning blood. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So, we're bagging him and we're just trying to and the parents are there and they're like, call a doctor. And I'm like, we are a doctor. They're like, no, you're 12. And I'm like, I swear. And I'm like, Jane. And she's like, call respiratory, get a chest x-ray, da-da-da-da-da. I'll call Steve. And, he'll give us orders and we'll sign out. So we page the attending and he doesn't call back. Okay. We're fine. Just get respiratory. Like, I don't know anything. Let's just keep this kid alive until we can get some orders in or some guidance. So respiratory comes and they put him on a vent and, eventually, and the parents are yelling at us the whole time. And I'm just like bagging and he's stable. We got him on the bag and he's okay, but sats are coming back up and he's okay. But I don't know what else to do beyond this. Right. So we order a chest x-ray, we get respiratory and they put him on the vent and da-da-da-da. But the attending needs to know about this, obviously. So we're paging Dr. Paging Dr. No answer. We're calling his home line. No answer. We're paging his cell. No answer. We're paging everything, every number we have on file. Nothing. And so we're just winging it with this kid.
We got this.
And we're like, oh my God. And we're getting more admissions. And we're like, where is Dr. Nothing. It's like midnight, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I mean, this guy probably has 20 missed calls on his cell phone. We've called his house line. We've called the page. Nothing. Nothing.
You can't call anybody else?
I don't know what else to do. Is there a secondary attending? What happens? What attending doesn't call back?
Just call your mom.
Just mom? She'd be like, I don't know. I'm pediatrics. Good luck. So we're like, what? And she's like, and Jane is just the calmest. I mean, she's the best senior to have in this situation. She was just calm. She's like, we got it. It's okay. But he really needs to know about this. And the patients and the parents are like, is there a real, when is the real doctor coming? Because we look like two little girls. He's fine. He looks okay.
Give him fluids.
You give him another bolus? I don't know. Z-Pack. I don't know. We're just throwing anything at him. And we did not get in touch with him all night. He did not respond to one call until 6 a.m. And so rounds are at 7.
Yeah, and so
rounds
that's
are
when
at
his
7.
alarm went off.
That's when his alarm went off.
Yeah.
And finally he calls back and the nurse is like, the phone. I'm like, give him to me. I was like, I don't know where I got the, honestly.
Yeah, are you kidding me right now?
Who am I to have the audacity to speak to an attending like this? But I was like, put him on the phone. Because I was like, I'm going to die. I cannot handle this stress. He gets on and he's like, hello. I'm like, hello?
That's what you have to say.
Hello? I was like, how the hell? Yeah. Wow. Who gave you? And I'm like, did you? And I literally just met this man 12 hours for the first time. And he's an intimidating guy, honestly. He's a very well-respected, very intimidating candidate. I'm like, where the hell have you been? Honestly, I was like, how dare you? Do you know what the hell has been happening here? Do you know? And I was going off, and I don't know where I got the balls.
It's completely not a big deal at all.
No, and he was no, this is a big deal. I mean, he's like, I am so sorry. I'm like, where the hell was your pager? He's like, I fell asleep in the living room and all my stuff was in the bed, like in another room. And I'm like, you're a floater. The senior's a floater. I'm a floater. You should be like married. It should be gorilla glued to your ear. Like, we don't know what the hell we're doing. And I went off on this man, and I'm like, how the hell did I speak to? And he just took it. Honestly, he was like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. He's like, tell me what's going on. I was like, well, how much time do you have? Because we had 3 admissions without you. And I was like going through them, and he's like, I am so sorry. Like, he was very gracious about it. And he's like, I'm going to call Dr. whoever is coming in on rounds. Because it wasn't him. He was a floater for the night. He's like, I'm just going to explain so you don't have to present. And he was like very gracious about it. But ever since then, we had a great relationship.
That's nice.
We were like we had this like trauma bond.
That's amazing.
And everyone lived till the morning. And then Dr. whatever came on and he's like, Dr. told me, I know what happened. You don't have to sign out. We got it. Like, well, it'll be very easy. Just tell me what you know. Tell me what happened and like show me on the dolls. What happened? Yeah, and it was fine, but ever since then, yeah.
So what happened to the patient?
They were all fine, but we were just like, we were winging it. We literally like winged it, like winged it.
You did it. You did it.
Did we wing it or wung it?
You did it.
We did it.
You did it.
Yeah, we got through the night. Everyone lived. Everyone was fine, but that was like one for the books. I mean, honestly, he could have gotten in big trouble. No one said anything. It was fine, and he was gracious, and we had a great relationship since. That was a stressful call. Yeah.
Night calls are where things become very stressful when you have the most autonomy, and that can be.
Well, you guys can
Yeah.
speak
But
to
that's
that.
exactly.
I don't have night
but
calls.
that's exactly you did it. You got them through the night. That's all you're expected to do. That is absolutely great.
Yeah.
I think the time that I knew when I made it is when I was a senior in the ICU on nights. So my strategy, strategy?
Yep.
Is that the word?
Yep.
Strategy.
It's a strategy.
Was, all right, I'm a new senior. I'm covering the ICU all by myself at night. I had no other interns or anything like that. So I was with a really hard ass like attending that a critical care attending that wanted to know everything. So my plan was to inundate him with every little thing to make sure that he knew that I was on top of everything. I'm like, this guy's hemoglobin is 6.9. Should I transfuse him? He's like, obviously yes, until I would annoy them. And then later, it was a month rotation where I'm just on nights. Like I became pale. Like I was like,
I became pale.
I didn't see the light of day for a month. Just how my schedule worked. You're supposed to get a break in between. I had like 2 days. I just slept all day. And then he gave me complete autonomy where I was wheeling and dealing, like trying stuff that I've never tried before and like doing everything like that. And then in the morning I would sign out to him and he'd be like, oh, okay.
All right.
You did it.
And I'm like,
Look at you.
now I feel like I'm a doctor. I could do this. I could keep patients alive for the night. Nobody has to like worry about me. And that's when I actually felt like I made it. But then there were times where I was an intern when I would try stuff and like kind of fly it under the radar.
Yeah.
I would try things.
I was like,
Let's
oh,
try it.
I read about this in med school. We could try this and then see what happens. Then we get chewed out by the senior and everything like that. What did I talk about? One time in my ER rotation when we were med students, this guy came into the ER. It was at Brooklyn Hospital, and he was this guy that was brushing his hat with like a horse brush or something, and then one of the bristles went into his
Thumb?
his thumb, and an abscess formed. And then I staffed it with the resident. He's like, "Oh, okay, we could do an IND, blah blah blah." And I was like,
Okay,
"Oh,
I'm gonna go
okay,
do an
cool."
IND.
I was with another med student.
I'm still on brushing the hat. Okay.
Yeah, he was
I'm
brushing a hat and a bristle went in.
just brushing my hat. No big deal. Why
He was
looking at me
like-
that?
It was a pimp. It was a pimp. It could be nothing else. With
important.
horsehair. Like
And he
it
was like
not,
this.
it was a serious brush,
He
dude.
was like this Middle Eastern guy that like
That's even weirder.
straight off the boat, and he was like, was racist. He's like, "Where are you from? Like, are you Egyptian?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." And then my other med student was Chinese, and he was like, "You're from China?"
You are from China?
So anyway,
Yeah.
we prepped him, and
Wait, where was he from?
he was probably from like
We
Saudi
built our
Arabia
sterile
or
field.
something like that.
It made our sterile field.
And I thought in med school, you want to do
alcohol wipes.
procedures, you want autonomy, and you want to do all this stuff. So we were like numbing this guy's thumb, didn't know where to numb, and like everything like that. And I'm like, all right, give me an 11 blade. I'm
11 blade.
gonna drain this guy's abscess.
Oh my God.
And then as we're doing it, the resident walks. He's like, "What are you doing? Like, you cannot be doing. I need to be here." I'm like, "Oh, I thought like we could just do this." And he's like, "No." And like he totally wasn't numb completely.
Oh
and
my God. He's
everything
like, ah.
but he was totally cool about it.
He's
And
totally cool?
I mean,
Wait, who is totally cool? The patient or
the
the...
patient? The resident wasn't cool about it.
Because he's from Egypt.
Yeah, he's like, it's fine.
And it was the
It's
ER
the best
rotation.
care I've
where
ever had.
everyone was auditioning on this ER
Sure.
rotation. I didn't want to do ER, so I was kind of like showing up when I wanted to, taking breaks.
And then
not,
you were
like-
the one who took this initiative.
Yeah, like, all right, we're here all night. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do this, and
He's like,
everything
I'll
was
drain this
fine.
abscess. He's like,
This is
the patient
emergency.
doesn't
This
have
is-
an abscess.
This
to
is in
drain.
ER. This is within the ER scope.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
But yeah, the ultimate sign of when you made it is when your attending at night doesn't want you to call them. You just run the ICU, anything like that, and then you go from there.
I remember one time we staffed a patient with the residents, and the intern, was staffing this patient. It was a time when the ER was really busy, so you had patients in the hallway, like all the way down the hallway. So it was just bed, all the way down the hallway. And we had said, all right, well, this patient probably needs a manual decompaction. So the intern went down, and in the hallway, without curtains, nothing, somehow manually
Wait, like his butt?
Yes,
Poop.
poop
Oh God.
in the middle of the hallway. Oh my
Oh.
God.
In the middle-
of the hallway with all these other
Oh
patients
my
watching like it was,
God.
that was a,
That's
yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. Those are the times.
Oh, you got to watch out for those. They could paint a wall with how much.
Oh
poop comes
my
out.
God.
Well, I mean, imagine the poor patient who is in like decubitus position ready for a decompaction.
Did you get it all?
in front of an entire audience of other people that
Yeah.
are there for no reason,
Yeah.
probably.
The kitchen staff is like,
Yeah.
would you like a pudding? He's like, not right now. Come back.
Let's see what this kid's about
Come
to do.
back in 30 minutes.
This young kids. This young kid has this man in decubitus position.
I have
This
your dinner.
Our attending
like,
was so pissed off.
Circle back.
Our attending was so pissed off he couldn't see. They had to leave. He had to leave. Go talk to the program director. He went straight to the program director's office. He's like,
I'm just
what the
going
heck
home."
just happened?
That's terrible. And terrible for the patient. I mean,
That's
it's
what
not
I
even
mean.
like a
It's
residency
only about the
terrible.
patient. There was
That's
another
a patient-
resident put in. This was in my wife's hospital. This is my wife's hospital story when the patient put an IO on a resident put an IO on a patient who was completely awake. Completely awake. They just couldn't get access. So he's like, I'm going to put the IO.
Oh my
He's like, why don't you
Yeah.
try one more time?
No numbing, no nothing.
Wow.
Just put the IO into this shit. I mean, that is
no.
I
a
can't imagine. When
That's
I was-
torture.
When
Oh,
I was
yeah.
learning about IOs, there's videos on YouTube of people
Ooh.
testing it out on their
Oh.
shoulder.
military does
Yeah.
it. Like, they
I'm
have
like, how
those kind
can
of
you
videos.
do that?
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's terrible.
Oh yeah.
That's bad. That's bad.
But I've never seen an instance where you have to use an IO now. I think everyone can get a central line.
I've never
Typically
put
has-
in an IO in my life.
Oh, we
personally.
did it. We still do it.
You can't
We
get a
definitely still
central
do it.
line with an ultrasound.
Well, I'll do central lines, but sometimes you'll get to rapids and the nurses already have the IO kit out, so you just go an IO, they're out. If we're coding
Yeah.
or something, you need fast access, so you just put an IO.
Oof.
Yeah.
Typically during codes, I just put a central. Femoral, I don't need an ultrasound, nothing. I just feel a central
Really?
line.
You do a central line without an ultrasound?
Yeah, femoral.
Real? Oh wow.
Oh.
Not jugular.
Wow.
I mean, subclavian, you always
Look
do.
at this guy.
Wow.
I've only done it ultrasound guided. I haven't done it.
Well,
any other way.
typically you should do it with ultrasound guided, but when you're in the middle of a code, I mean, you have to do what you got to do. You don't have an ultrasound available. You need access. Then you just, you feel for the artery and you.
Go for it.
Yeah.
That's right. Just
Well,
allow it.
actually, we should correct for med students. Resuscitation is not best through a central line because the
No.
lumens are small. Did you
And
know that?
and the
No,
and the
I have no
catheter
idea
is
what
long.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
And the catheter is long.
Ah.
So if you want to like massively transfuse somebody, you need the smallest length and the thickest catheter.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You
I
didn't?
forgot all my hospital medicine. No.
So
There's
that's why like GI bleeds, anything like that. 18 gauges is better than one central line. Oh yeah.
Okay.
You can, or cordis. You can do a cordis too, which is again shorter central line. It goes into like the IJ, but it's a thicker catheter. And it's an introducer basically. Thicker catheter, but shorter lumen.
Okay.
All right. Being in critical care.
Yeah.
What are the worst, or in pediatrics, what
Not
are the
me.
worst, not you, but what are the worst
I can't do
family
words.
members
Oh.
that you have to deal
Ooh,
with?
give us the cheese may.
With critical care, you get a wide spectrum of family members. I mean, but I think the worst, I hate to say worst, but
Not
difficult.
worst.
Sometimes difficult are those that are unaccepting of like the inevitable,
Challenging. Yeah.
unaccepting of
Sure.
not so much thinking about the patient as much as they're thinking about themselves and kids who see their family member, their mom or dad dying, something that's inevitable, and letting them suffer for extended periods of times. Because I don't have a problem oftentimes keeping somebody alive. It's just having quality. I can't. It's
Yeah.
it's beyond that in a lot of circumstances, and sometimes it's like, hey, we have to let nature take its course. I mean, this is not something that's black or white. I mean, this is quality is out the window.
Yeah, I use that line all the time. Like, you're holding on for you, but you have to do what's best for them.
Right.
You don't want to deal with your pain, but what's best for the patient
Right.
is
Does that usually work?
no.
Passing is one
They're
thing.
like, shut up and crank it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you have to say, like, passing is one thing. It's horrible. I don't want your mother to die as much
Yeah.
as you don't want your mother to die. I mean, not as much, but, I don't want you to have that, but suffering before you die is significantly worse. And it's not gray. Suffering before you die is significantly worse than just, allowing nature to take its course. And sometimes that's enough to, make people understand. And sometimes it's not. And when it's not, you get,
Yeah.
terribly long.
That's so multifaceted. There's so much cultural
Yeah,
stuff.
that's absolutely the case. It's
There's
cultural.
just cultures that just won't
Yeah, that's right. And
won't
cultures that
remove
are
care.
easier,
They can't do it. They can't live with that guilt. But I don't know. That's not. I hear.
Yeah.
I hear on the streets. That's the going. I don't deal with that, thank God. But yeah, there's a lot of culture around it. Religion. I mean, you have to probably tread lightly about that.
Are there any patients that stick with you that you always think about? Like,
I do have patients that stick with me. It's tough to say one of them right now. I mean, you have late 99-year-olds who are on trach and peg, emaciated with no consciousness and heartbeat and barely reflexes. That's enough to say they're not brain dead. That family members keep alive. Even sometimes for financial reasons, they do get paid.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
They get paid. What do you mean?
Some families do get paid to keep these people, to take care of them. By
Oh,
the government.
I get those.
Yeah.
Yep.
You do?
Oh yeah, IHSS.
Okay. And so- really?
In-home support.
Pediatric? Really?
Yeah. Oh yes. Because I have a lot of developmentally delayed patients, autistic patients that the parents can apply for something called IHSS. I don't know if it's the same thing in.
Right.
Is that the same thing in adults?
I think it's the same thing, yeah.
In-home support services.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
it-
So the parents can get paid to care for a family member that needs full-time care.
which makes sense. Which
makes sense,
Which
yeah.
is a good thing. I don't mean anything about it.
I fill out all those forms. I'm
Right,
like,
yeah,
good
of
for
course,
you.
yeah.
Yes, of course. I mean, it's different for a child that
Yes,
needs-
exactly.
than like a 99-year-old
99-year-old,
woman.
that's right.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
different context,
Right.
but interesting. Yeah,
Yeah. And that'll happen often too.
sure. Yeah.
okay. Well, in residency, we're often overworked.
Are we? No, yeah, we are.
I mean, I had a Cush residency.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you're like second generation.
I mean,
How long were your calls? What was the longest call? Like, what was the hour like max that you can work?
So
ACGME now has a max. I think
Yes.
it's 24 hours.
Not even.
Not even anymore.
we didn't really have calls.
We'll answer the
actually.
question and then I'll say what happened after
Yeah.
my generation.
Yeah.
So everyone would admit every day unless it was a clinic day. So
Okay.
throughout the day, they would just go round robin to every team, every residency team, and you'd admit. But then you'd have night shifts, which was basically our call.
Mm-hmm.
But no like 24-hour calls or
Really?
anything like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
You
that's
had
good.
24-hour call?
Yeah, we did. Definitely.
And you didn't?
My wife had 36
But you
hours.
guys were in residency at the same time,
Yeah.
in the same state.
No, I was
No.
in Nevada.
Oh, that's right. Because I was like, how are there two different rules? You're in Nevada.
I was also in a county hospital in underserved. Nevada does not have, it's very underserved. And it's like I say, with law, probably you get the most complicated cases in the more like,
Yeah.
richer areas, places where corporations, I mean, those are really intricate. But when you come to medicine, the poorer, the more underserved, that's where you get the best training, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're a necessity.
You see everything.
You're
Yeah.
a necessity too.
Do you guys feel like you're making a difference?
I do.
Yeah.
You're outpatient, so I mean, you're the boots on the ground. But when they come to the hospital, most of our patients as adults, they're 90-something years old on their way out. But every once in a while, you get someone in their 20s, car accident, something like that.
I get a lot of young people too, though.
Oh, you do?
I've been getting a lot of young people lately.
Like 30s, 40s?
30s, 40s, yeah.
That's
and,
nice.
and sometimes it's no fault of their own, and sometimes I do feel like I'm making a difference. And a lot of times I do have a good turnaround, but for those 90-year-olds, it's not a very good turnaround when it comes to quality, at least.
Yeah.
Definitely not quality.
Yeah.
I feel like that's my expertise is the 90-year-olds. I could stabilize them and get them ready for
Right.
discharge.
Yeah.
And then what?
I could put you on
It's like hot
dialysis.
potato. It's
so they
like,
could, pass away at home?
yeah, I want everyone
That's
to pass
terrible.
away at
I'm
home.
sorry. But you
want-
want everyone to pass away at home?
Yeah, I don't want anyone to die in a hospital. Just because nobody envisioned their life. I mean, I guess some people
Sorry.
envision that.
Sorry.
Nobody wants
That
to
was a
die in a
cough
hospital.
burp.
Everyone wants to die in their bed. I mean,
Right.
that's how I'm going to go. I'm not going to a hospital like when I'm old
Fair
or
enough.
anything like that.
And sometimes that's what my conversation is too. If sometimes I get a rapid in the middle of the night and this patient's like actively decompensating and passing away, but we stop it. And the next day I have to explain to the family like they're home, they would have just died in their sleep. You wouldn't have these conversations, but now you have to make those hard decisions. Now the
that's a good
decisions are
line.
on yours. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tricky.
Okay.
Peds, guys. Outpatient peds.
Yeah.
Don't have to deal with any of this.
I mean, the children are our future. That's what they say. Do you ever miss the I mean, I know you round at the hospital for new babies and things like
I
that.
stopped that too.
Really?
Really? Who does that for you?
Yes. I don't know. Not my problem anymore.
Somebody does.
No, the neonatologist.
Oh.
Yeah, there's always neonatal coverage, so they'll see all the newborns. And I stopped like a year ago, and I don't regret it. I mean, so basically, guys, what they're talking about is most pediatricians will see if there's a newborn that's going to come to your practice, you will see them in the hospital within the first 24 hours to do the first neonatal exam. And I used to do that for a couple hospitals, and then I slowly cut out one hospital at a time. And then last year I totally cut it out because it was stressing me out. Because now babies are born whenever they feel like being born, and so it was taking up all my weekends and my
Right.
evenings, and because
Right.
you have to see the baby within 24 hours, and so and the reimbursement wasn't that great, to be honest
think
with
your
you.
establishment has ensured your practice has matured. I think that's
Yeah,
really
I'm
what
not
it is.
desperate for new
Yeah,
patients
yeah,
at this point.
yeah.
I mean, it's really for newer doctors that like
Right,
need to
need
get
to, yeah,
patients,
right.
which is nice. And I did it
Yeah.
for the first 10, 12 years of my career. I think I'm year 13. So I'm like, I don't need it
Don't
anymore.
need it,
We're
yeah.
full to capacity.
Did you do circumcisions?
No, I did in residency, and I hate it. The pressure. This is a boy's weenie. They have to live
Don't get me
this
started
wiener.
on that. I don't think
Okay,
anyone should
this
be
is a whole
circumcised.
other episode. Okay, that should be a whole other.
That's a sore subject for you.
Michael has daughters, thank God. Okay, and
It's an ancient tradition that we shouldn't even
it's
be doing
true.
anymore.
It's true. I will make a comment on circumcisions that they used to be in the beginning of my practice. Like basically everyone was circumcised, except like a certain ethnic population, which I was used to, and that's fine. And now I'm seeing less and less circumcised boys.
Yeah, why?
I mean, that's fine. It's a cosmetic procedure. It's fine.
Okay, at birth, isn't that weird? I think it's just so ubiquitous now that everyone
No, I
just
think
accepts it.
circumcisions when you're an adult is much more trickier.
It's terrible
Yeah, it's
because
tricky.
I
It's
I
difficult.
just transferred a teenager to urology who wants to
to
be
be
circumcised.
circumcised,
And
yeah.
I'm like, are you sure? This
Right.
is like hard. Like
yeah,
this is a
it's
surgery.
tougher when you're an adult. and-
It's
yeah.
painful recovery. It's not
Yes.
fun. So I hear.
Ex-
Because I always get called at midnight. He's crying nonstop. What do I'm like, your choice. You chose this. This was
He's
plastic
25.
surgery, basically. Yeah. But yeah, more and more, American Caucasian boys are not circumcised
Yeah,
these
why?
days. It's tradition and religion
Exactly. You
and
mutilate a kid
cosmetics.
at birth just because of tradition.
Oh, mutilate.
Yeah.
See,
I mean,
that's
when people ask
stigma.
me, they're like, what do you
That's
think?
kinda
And I'm
hard.
like, my recommendation is like, there's no medical reason for it. There used to be a that's true. There used to be it's cleaner and the's
Yeah,
less
right.
STD
Right, and that's
transmission
come-
and da. And that's what we're fed to say.
Right.
But
Pfizer again.
it's is it true? Not really, but it's a theoretical risk. But now it's like religion, cosmetic, like what? And so I'm like, listen, whatever his dad is, and you don't have to answer that question to me. I'm not asking, but maybe just for ease of. Growing up in your household, maybe just keep it the same. But that's all I can tell you. But do whatever you want. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm glad I don't have a son yet.
Thank God. But yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I think I only make girls. So.
Okay. So you're not gonna circumcise if you had a son. That's what
I
you're
mean,
saying.
my wife wants circumcision. It'll be a conversation, but she's probably going to end up winning. But
Yeah, that's true.
And you have the strong opinion about this.
That's
so good.
That's true.
I mean,
Damn it.
okay, back to stories.
Ah,
Have you guys ever saved anyone's life not in the hospital?
I have not.
I think
you?
you have.
You have. You want to
Yeah,
talk about it?
well, we can go into this.
He's like, funny you bring that up. Oh, I brought that up.
The Segway man
Mr.
again.
Segway.
Mr. Segway does it again.
The perfect story.
This is a good story, guys.
Cue the music.
Yeah.
All right, let's cue it.
Let's. This deserves its own intro. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
you were in Palm Springs.
Okay. So, let's preface this by saying, so Michael,
I was in residency.
he was in residency in Palm Springs, California. We have a house in Palm Springs, so we go there we live in LA, so we go there for vacations, like weekend vacations. I think it was like Marco, his birthday weekend, my husband. So we like ditched the kids and went to Palm. Did we ditch the kids? Yeah, we ditched the kids. Yeah, we ditched the kids. We went to Palm Springs for the weekend to celebrate my husband's birthday, and Michael was living there at the time. So we all went out to dinner.
Yes. Top of the Rowan Hotel. I think the restaurant's called
Four Saints?
Four Saints.
Oh, so good.
And I was in my ICU rotation,
Oh, fresh.
running codes all
Oh.
day, like just CPR.
What
all
year were
day.
you in? Senior? No.
Probably a senior, second year maybe.
Okay.
Probably a senior.
Mm.
Because I had time off and I could go out to dinner with you guys.
Yeah.
So we get to the Rowan. We're waiting for our table. There's a lady at the bar with her husband. She goes down. There's a crowd accruing. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, probably she just fainted or whatever. And then we're like waiting for our table. And you're like, Michael, go over there. See what's going on. And I go over there. I'm like, oh, her husband's just standing there. I'm like, oh, she does this sometimes. She faints and she comes back too. And I'm like, oh, okay. Luckily,
It's
I
normal.
check for a pulse. No pulse.
Oh.
Wait, hold on. I need to get, okay, this is how a man tells a story. I'm going to give detail, like more for the women that are watching, which is mom.
It was
Hi, mom.
65 degrees
Mom,
out.
mom, this is what happened. Our one viewer and Joe's grandma. Listen, this is what happened, ladies. Let me just, because listen,
Okay.
I need to give context to how crazy this, like how
But
the puzzle pieces.
I think it wasn't crazy. Everyone was
It
eating
is crazy.
dinner.
No. We arrived to the restaurant. Our table was not ready. And Michael was like, let's walk across the restaurant because I want to show you something out the window. There's like an art exhibit out the window.
Oh, yeah.
So we weren't even supposed, this is how the stars align for people.
At the Palm Springs Art Museum.
The Palm Springs Art Museum. Okay, which this restaurant overlooks. Okay. So he's like, okay, our table is going to be ready in 5-10 minutes. Let me show you something out the window. So we are at a totally, he's like, let's walk across the restaurant. So we're at this part of the restaurant that we're not really supposed to be in. I'm coming in the spiritual aspect, like how everything was like meant to be. And so we're at this part of the restaurant near the bar. This woman has been sitting at the bar with her partner, and suddenly she goes down. She slumps out of her seat and is like on the floor. And we're like, oh, this poor woman. She's, how would you say, 50, 60?
Yeah, 50s.
Mid-age. Okay. And they're kind of like fanning her. And this is when the husband's like, she faints sometimes. It's not a big deal. And we're like, okay. And then the hostess comes like, your table's ready. So we leave. Yes. So we leave this lady. And she's like, oh, she fainted. Poor woman. Okay, let's go have some champagne and oysters. Good luck to you. And that's when we were at the table. And then my like heart was with this woman. And I kept looking over. And we're
she's
like,
not getting up.
She's not getting exactly. I fainted. I used to faint all the time. I
You
had
sat
like,
down and ate appetizers.
yes,
and she's-
I'm telling you. I'm like, she's still down. You're exactly right.
geez.
And I'm like, this is not fainting. You faint,
Yes,
5
right.
seconds, you're back up. Okay.
Jeez.
And I said, Michael, she's still down. Like I'm like, something is wrong. Okay. So I sent him, I'm like, Michael, just go check on her because everyone shooed us away. We initially said,
that was the thing. I
do
was
you
like,
need
hey,
help?
Do you guys need any help?
And they're like, get out of here.
Yeah,
She's
the
fine.
manager was like, no, go.
And the manager did not want a scene. Okay, so he's like, she's fine. And the husband or partner was like, she does this sometimes. So then we leave and I'm like, she's still on the ground. And it's been minutes now, okay? So I'm like, Michael, go back. And Michael's like, we already said they shoot us away. But I'm like, but they don't know we're physicians.
Yeah.
So you have to go back and represent yourself. I'm like, I'm a I'm a
I forgot all this.
physician.
Wow.
Do you need help? I'm a physician. So then I sent Michael over and I'm like, more oysters, champagne. I'm like, I'm a pediatrician. I have nothing to do with this, right? So that's when I sent Michael away. I'm like, and then if they shoo you away, then like you did your due diligence. Okay,
Yeah,
you're like, fine. That's when I never saw Michael again for the rest of the night. So then now you could take it away.
Okay, so I go over there, check for a pulse. No pulse. Or very faint or something.
Wow.
And I'm like, all right, we got to do CPR. Like that's first thing you do. So I start doing compressions and I'm like, get the AED machine. And they're like, we don't know where it is.
Oh
And
my God.
What does that smell?
Like that's just for show, that sign.
yeah.
Ad.
And you know, in
Right.
residency, you have to keep up your ACLS and like do it on the dummies and everything like that. So I'm doing CPR. I have the bartender with me. And I'm like,
Good. Thank God.
and he's just standing there. I'm like, all right, I'm doing CPR. And then when the AED machine came, I'm like, okay, you have to do compressions right now. And I'm like telling him how to do it. And he's doing, and the husband's just standing there and he's like, is she going to be okay? I'm like, oh, wow.
No, this is.
Oh,
This
poor
is,
guy.
So we have to rip open her shirt, put the pads on. She's in VFib.
wow.
Like it's a shockable rhythm. Like I'm like, all right, let's shock her. And I'm like, I did the whole call 911.
You did the
Just like in the
exact- wow.
videos, like in the
Yeah,
training
absolutely.
videos.
Yeah,
Specify the person.
I'm like, I'm surprised 911 hasn't been called already.
Yeah. Well, I think the manager was like, and it was okay. I will say, on my perspective, there's nothing. Like,
Oh, really?
There
I
is
didn't know that.
The
no
restaurant was just going about their business.
There's nothing.
Really?
If I didn't know what was going on, it was silent, which was fantastic.
Oh, I thought it was business because
No.
she was kind of hidden behind the bar.
She was hidden behind the bar, and the bar is kind of in the corner of the restaurant.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So there was no commotion, no chaos. And so I think the manager just like wanted it, like, just do what you
Yeah.
need to do, but keep it down.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
don't.
Meanwhile, I'm like, all right, we need to rip her
Wow.
shirt open and put these
Yeah.
pads on.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then so we shock her, and then paramedics come.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm a physician, but I'm like, I'm a resident, and I'm like, I think we should give like epi or amio right now. I forgot. And he's just like, whoa, we need to see a medical license before we start giving all this stuff.
He's like,
Well,
who
luckily.
are you really?
And then we got a pulse again after we shocked her probably like 2-3 times. And I'm like, she was down for a while, and then they took her away. They got my information or whatever, and then they took her to Desert Regional. I'm like, all right, that's the last we saw her. She was down for a pretty long time. I don't know if she's going to make it, but we got a pulse. And then I just went back to the table and we started having dinner again.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
the whole
We're like, so what are you
restaurant's
going to
like-
order? The
Because-
lamp looks great.
I've been
Yeah.
doing this all day,
Right,
so
yes.
It
and
was
we're
just-
doctors, and we're like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fine.
I think I sent Marco, I'm like, Michael's been gone for a while. Why don't you help him out? And I'm like, what do you have in the drink? But I was just like literally enjoying like a lonely meal. I'm like, this is good.
They're missing they're missing
So I'm
out.
like, Marco, go check on him because
Yeah.
he hasn't been back. And Marco's like, there's like a million people there. I can't even get in. So Marco comes back and we're just like, the octopus is succulent tonight. Yeah. And so then Michael comes back and then we basically move on with our night.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I remember asking the husband, it was like a second husband or something. I'm like, what medications does she take? I'm like, did she overdose on something? I don't know. And he's like, oh no, she just faints every once in a while and then she comes to. But meanwhile, she was like snoring. She was doing that agonal.
Oh no.
Like, and then paramedics came, took her away. We went around business as usual while the whole restaurant's like, what just happened?
On my, I don't, listen, I think you guys
Wow.
kept it. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything, honestly.
What came of it? Do you know?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, can I just add that our meal was comped?
Yeah,
of
the
course.
manager,
I was gonna say that. That would be the meal I
came out of
the
They're like-
manager came over stunned. He's like, yo, everything's on us.
Yeah,
I mean,
Order
Absolutely.
whatever you want.
Yeah,
I mean,
whatever
our
you
bill
want.
was like
Yeah.
2 creme brulees,
You can take
another
some of
glass
that art you were looking at if you want.
I don't think we knew it was going to be comp. 'cause
No.
I mean, like,
Well, no, you came back to the table and jokingly was like, we're going to get a free dessert.
Yeah,
Watch.
of course. Free dessert.
But he's like,
we'll get an ice cream.
we got a bottle of wine.
Oh my!
and,
Like, literally, it was like probably a
course.
$500-600 bill.
we planned
honestly.
on paying.
We planned on paying, but he's like, it's on us. Thank you so much. And okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
And then took her to the hospital. Didn't think I was ever going to see her again or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, Mike, I will say, you came back. You're like, she died.
Yeah, I'm like, she was down for
she's dead.
because we were like waiting
And I
for
was
the
like,
table.
oh my
She was
God.
down. I'm
Oh,
like,
she was. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
she was down for a long time without CPR.
we had a moment of silence,
jeez.
and then we like ordered creme brulee.
Oh my God.
We're like, so what's good on the dessert?
I'm like, at least we got a pulse, but they're probably going to
Yeah.
use pulses en route and
Yeah.
then shock
Right.
her
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
She's going to go to the cath lab, like everything.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't know if she's going to make it because CPR was, you have to start CPR as soon as possible, anyone watching.
Right.
And then about a month later, 2 months, I was in my residency clinic. It was a clinic day. Oh, so I gave my card to the manager, my resident, because he wanted my information just in case the cops or someone wanted to know something. So I gave him my residency card,
Right.
and it had the address of my
Your clinic,
residency
yeah.
clinic. A letter comes to the residency clinic, and I'm like, oh, what's this? And I just open it. It's a long letter like, hi, I'm so-and-so. You saved my life in the restaurant.
Wow.
Crazy.
I have the letter
Yeah,
somewhere.
you
Maybe
should
I'll,
have that
I'll,
letter.
I'll post it somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll post
That's
the letter.
incredible. Take
And-
out the name though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. And then she's like, you saved my life. Like, if you want to meet at any point, I would love to meet you and do all that. I'm like, and I was really busy. I'm like, yeah, we'll meet. Like, I didn't feel like I particularly wanted to meet her or anything like that. And
Right.
I'm like, I was just doing my job. I think she put her phone number, and I did a call with her later. And she's like, they found this weird arrhythmia. I don't know if it was like
Yeah.
something hereditary, like Wolf Parkinson White or something like
Something
that.
that makes her
And she's
pass
like,
out often and wake back up.
the
Sounded
cardiologist
like an
was
arrhythmia.
like, you
Yeah.
should test your kids. And like, because of you, I'm testing my kids. And they also have Wolf Parkinson White.
Wow, I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
didn't hear
and-
that part.
And
Okay.
she's like, so we're taking precautions with them and everything. Like, if you want to meet
What an
anything,
impact.
if you want to meet or anything. And I'm like, no. I was like, it's my job. Like I didn't want any. I was busy in residency.
Was this over like phone?
I called her on the phone weeks late. She left her number, and I don't know. I felt weird about it for some reason.
I remember you telling me, I'm like, meet with her, and you're like, I don't need to. It's fine. I don't need like the. I'm like, but her closure, you
Yeah,
know,
that's
do it
Yeah.
for her. And he's like, I don't want the whatever.
So we had a phone call. It was
That's
awesome.
nice.
She was very grateful, and she's like, if you need it, she's like a marriage counselor or something. If you need anything, let
Yeah.
me know. And then she went on and she tested her kids, and they all have this hereditary
Oh, they do.
arrhythmia.
Wow.
Where I think it's Wolf Park. I'm not sure what it is.
You saved her children.
And then she's like, anything you need,
Wow.
I'll do it. So that's like, I know we save people's lives all the time. We're a team effort. We do codes in the hospital.
Right.
This is like the only time I felt like I saved someone's life. No matter, we do it every day.
Like you felt it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you
because it was
really
just
made
me.
an
It
impact.
was just me, not like a whole team of
Yeah.
nurses. Like, you do this, you
Yeah.
do that. Where I
Yeah.
was like,
And it was like out of context, like that you're not used to.
Yeah.
So it like hit different.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the only thing I told her is like, I kind of threw her husband under the bus. I'm like, your husband should know CPR, and he should know what. Like,
He's like, yeah, I'm going to
do.
divorce him. You should get rid of that loser.
I'm like, because he was the
What are you
one.
doing Friday night?
He's like, she's like, I'm a marriage counselor. Should counsel him.
He was the one deterring me. He's like, oh, she does this. Like,
Well,
it's
that's a normal
fine.
response. They don't want anything to be wrong with her.
Yeah.
Before I go, is Derek there?
Yeah.
Good, because I have something to say about him.
Let's bring him out. Yeah.
So the only thing I told her is like, make sure everyone in your family learns CPR. It could save someone's
Wow.
life, and that's the only thing I passed on.
So you saved more than one life. You saved your
Well-
children's life and their children's life and their children's
That's what they say.
life. Allegedly. No, that was a
That's pretty
that was a
cool.
night.
You
Yeah.
wore the right shirt and
Good
gold chain
job.
for that.
Yeah, you would deserve that gold chain.
I'll post the letter.
Is that why you wore the gold chain to tell that story?
Yeah. This is the gold chain.
This is
she
the gold
gave
chain.
me.
Everyone has a gold chain story.
Actually, when she was laying down, I took it off her neck. And
You're like, that's nice.
But the paramedics and fire department, I don't know why they were like, oh, we're hesitant to give any medications. I'm like, no, she needs like amio or something like
Yeah,
that. just
they don't
to-
know who you are. I mean, they don't.
Yeah,
They're
I
just
didn't
like,
have a
who the
medical
heck are you?
license.
You YouTube this? Like,
that's true.
I mean, I told him I'm a resident.
How do you know these words?
yeah. They're like, that's cute. We'll just-
I was like,
Stuff
okay,
aside.
then just take her to the hospital. She needs to go to the
Yeah.
hospital right now.
yeah. Wow.
Cool story.
That was
That is a cool story.
that deserves an applause.
That
Good
does.
job.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
we are wrapping up now.
okay.
Cool.
Final thoughts.
We're doing that now.
We'll do Jer-
It's like
remember
a-
Jerry Springer's final thoughts?
oh yeah. I was thinking about Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood final thoughts. Like he always had a last.
Yeah.
I think
Same
you
with
already
Jerry
did
Springer.
it.
Same with
CPR.
Jerry
You should
Springer.
know CPR.
You should know CPR.
You should
That's
take an
true.
ACLS, BLS, some sort of course.
Yeah.
It's a great
It's like
thing. You
literally
never
the
know.
only thing that could save a life.
Is it 15 too or 32?
You hope to
You
never
don't get
use it.
breaths anymore, or breaths aren't.
Oh, it's
important.
like not ABC. It's like
C.
C, 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 C.
C.
You just
Yeah.
do this for
compressions, and
18
then
minutes.
get the pads on to see if it's a shockable. rhythm.
Got it. Why don't you do breaths anymore?
I think
It's
they
gross?
just do it. It's just
Everyone's
it's
like,
just
"Thank God."
Layman, it's very difficult to
Yeah.
to
Do a
wanna-
good breath.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Or
It's oftentimes they
people are
pause
wary of
for
it.
them. Remember, they used to pause for 20,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
40
you don't,
compressions, pause, and
40
oftentimes the well, whatever it was, it used
like
to be.
30 and 2, or
I
don't know, for
remember
kids.
15
No,
too.
That's for kids.
Kids was 30 and 2. I think
Oh.
adults.
there's
it's 2 minutes
32 and
2
15
breaths,
too.
so
It
that's
depends on like if there's like 2 people on the field or 1 person on the
correct.
field.
Yeah. Well, we should really know this, but
Yeah, I haven't done this in
Well,
a
that's what it used to be. It's
long
not
time.
that anymore.
But I
Yeah.
make my nurses to get recertified. I'm like, you guys.
But compression's the most important. You never
Yes.
want to break compressions.
That's
Compressions
right.
the
And
whole
so that's
time.
what was happening is they're breaking compressions to give breaths, and oftentimes those were too long. They were too extended.
Interesting.
So what's the point of giving breath if you're not circulating?
That's right.
Okay.
So yeah,
You could break your the ribs, whatever. Just make
Do
sure
what you got to do.
do what you got to do.
Okay.
So everyone get a or BLS. Is it BLS?
ACLS.
BLS is basic.
ACLS.
ACLS is a little bit more
But that's when you can give
comprehensive. But you don't.
meds.
Yeah, you don't
A
necessarily have to
layperson
do
gives
ACLS.
Uh-huh.
BLS is enough.
Yeah.
Good
Just
to know.
at least do something.
Just be certified. Keep up to date on your certifications, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is our message for the day. Okay, that's another episode of Off Call with Dr. Marian and Dr. Joe.
And Dr. Mike,
And Dr.
And
Mike.
I'm Dr. Mike,
the hero.
the hero of this episode.
The hero of Palm Springs. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to hit up that manager again, see if I can get some more free meals.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's get a free bottle or something.
Yeah, he probably doesn't remember.
Oh, I guarantee you he does.
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
That bartender.
we should
We'll bring
try.
the bartender on.
We should go and
I
be
mean,
like, remember me.
I don't mean to do you remember?
I'm just saying, like, do I look familiar? He'd be like,
Okay, check out
All right.
MedPop.
woo,
Apparel.
MedPop Apparel, MEDPOPAPPARE.
That's why we do this podcast.
Yeah.
Basically, it's for my apparel
She's our
line.
first sponsor.
But they're very cool. Just check it out. You don't have to buy anything. Just check it out and spread the word and tell a friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys are going to like them.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, Mom.
Thank you. Thanks, Mom. Bye, Grandma.
The people that are still listening, what's wrong with you guys? I don't know. It's-
Get a life. Yeah.
I can't believe you come this far. Follow us on Instagram, like and subscribe on YouTube, tell all your friends, learn CPR. We need a producer.
And don't get circumcised.
Don't get circumcised.
If you're Michael's son, don't get circumcised.
Just don't do it.
Cue the music.
Cue the music.
On that note. Okay.
All right.
Not bad. Not bad, Iskander.
We're getting better. We've come a long way since episode 1.